Hi, everyone. I am here today with one of our SYLO coaches, Amy Golden. And today we just wanted to talk a little bit about getting in the best shape of your life in your 40s. Because both Amy and I had some transformation stories, and I just wanted to talk to her today about um, her journey and then share a part of my journey and share that with you guys and then talk about why we're passionate about coaching and the types of clients we both resonate with. So, Amy, I want to start with you. I want you to share a little bit about your transformation story and how that kind of transitioned into your coaching.
Sure, I can actually say I represent the 50s. I turned 50 this year, so we have Sarah in her 40s and myself in 50s. Um, I've always loved to be active. I loved sports as I was growing up. I was always the sturdy girl, let's put it that way, thanks to my grandmother saying that. But I always loved being active. I loved movement. And then as I transitioned into my 20s, I did find the love of nutrition. I found the love of lifting, being strong, powerful. And that was a beautiful segue into where I am now. But it's a theme that I've had throughout my whole life. It just kind of looked a little different. When I was in my 20s, obviously I had children, and sometimes those things go out of the window because you're taking care of kids and you don't put yourself first. And so, we've had our ups and downs as far as when I really focused on myself and my strength training, my cardiovascular um, training as well. But I have to say, I've finally transitioned into a little self care again now that my children are a little older. And I have learned how to eat to sustain. I know when we were younger, we would, try different fad diets. We would try different things that just didn't support us long term. And I finally felt as though I've hit my stride in being as healthy as I can. And as I'm entering my 50s, I've lost a total of about 30 pounds over the last few years and been able to keep it off. Obviously, a lot of changes too with body composition, feeling the strongest I do in my own skin. So that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Yeah, so my story is a little different, but also kind of similar. I did not have children, so that's not part of my journey, but I was on birth control for a really long time, and I didn't realize how it was affecting me. And gradually, over the course of many years of being on it, I was slowly gaining weight every single year, trying really hard to lose weight multiple times and really struggling with that. I was somebody who always loved lifting, so I always kept up with my lifting. I competed in powerlifting, but I was gradually gaining weight every single year, and I had eventually reached 270 some pounds. And I went to go get my birth control, and they wouldn't give it to me because I was borderline high blood pressure. And I just decided I'm just going to go off it. Why am I even on it? So I went off of it, and that started my weight loss journey. I lost 15 pounds without really doing anything, changing my lifestyle, just still, training the way I did, eating pretty much the way I did. But that let me know that something had changed and I was actually going to be able to do this. So I did also try many a fad diet. Oddly, I tried fad diets, even though my husband is a coach, and I helped him with his business, and I know all about macros. I had done macro dieting, but I just, at that time in my life, I was like, I don't really want to track. So I tried some other things like intermittent fasting. I tried keto dieting because you don't really have to track with keto. You do have to eat a certain way, but I did lose a little bit with weight with intermittent fasting, but I quickly plateaued. And then I tried keto, and I only made it like 2 weeks because it's absolutely miserable and completely unsustainable. Um, so then I was like, you know what? I know macros works. I just need to put in the work, track the food, and that's what I did for the continuation of my entire weight loss journey, which at when I did step on stage, that was 125 pounds that I lost total. And right now I'm sitting at a little over 100-pound weight loss from where I was when I started my journey about 8 years ago. So,
Amazing.
yeah, I think that one of the huge things that I want to talk about is getting in the best shape of our lives later in life, is what process we use and why that has worked for us. So, um, I used macros for the majority of my weight loss, and that worked really well for me because, yes, even though you have to track, it is super flexible and you can still go out to dinner. You can still, celebrate special occasions with your family. It allows you to eat what you want, really, as long as it fits within your macro goals. And for me, that's like flexibility meant it was sustainable long term, so that I could keep doing that without feeling super restricted or feeling like I had to eat the same foods every day if I wanted progress. So that's why I felt like macros was something I could do long term. And obviously, since my weight loss journey took like 8 years, there were points in that where I was just maintaining and taking a little break from tracking. And then, I would dig back in and start again. So what really worked for you, Amy?
Well, and you touched on a couple points too. So my first introduction to macros was probably 10 years ago, and it was a friend at the gym. I was a CrossFit coach, so was she, and we just started to learn about them. And I have to say, we put all our numbers in, and we both got the same macros. Which, why would you do that? We're two totally different people, and we followed it. And I was so afraid to deviate from everything. I ate something the same every single day, but we didn't learn much about it. We didn't have a coach to kind of go through. It was kind of one of these, well, we'll try it. And, that first bout of it didn't really lend to, like you said, having the flexibility to make it real world, to make it be able to go out with your friends, go on vacation, and still feel like you have control, and you're eating healthy. So then I did the paleo diet because, again, CrossFit, that's all we did. We ate tons of meat. And, um, and it, again, it just didn't sustain. My weight didn't change. Was I getting stronger? Sure. But I wasn't seeing the effects of all of that hard work because I really wasn't balanced well with my nutrition. Um, my husband and myself, my husband also has 100-pound weight loss. So I have to put that out to him. Yeah. He's worked so super hard. It's great doing it with a partner, as you know, too. It's great to have that support system at home. We did start with Optavia initially to lose weight. And again, the structure of it was great. It got us really ready for macros. I think the second time around, I was more open to the idea of it because I understood some of those healthy habits, eating every few hours, making sure you're getting your water in, making sure you're balancing the foods appropriately, using the scale. I mean, everyone thinks, oh, I have to weigh my food. It literally takes 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If it's something you do, it's not the biggest thing in the world, honestly. And if you feel really good, you're going to be motivated to do it. So I think that was a great starting point. But then we got to a point where, okay, where can we go from here? We had, some high hopes, and we did talk to a friend who was working with Adam, and he really, the first conversation with him, it really resonated. Like, we could actually go to the next level. And I may be getting 50, but 50 is only a number, and I want to see what I can do. So I didn't have that thought process prior. So when we started to work with Adam, and he set my macros, and again, it's so specific to your age, your body type, your height, weight, what your goals are, and that's the greatest part too. Is it's just so tailored to what your goals are, what your objectives are moving forward, and that can change. It's a fluid opportunity to be able to change your mind, make short-term goals, make long-term goals, but continue to feel like you're on the right track. So that's where we started. And I have to say that first year, a ton of knowledge, a ton of support. And I got down to my leanest, and that I've ever been. I was about 138 pounds, but all of the years of heavy lifting and hard work, I finally could see. And it was reassuring to say those years weren't lost. I did do it. I just needed to have a nutrition plan that supported it. And then I was able to see all my hard work tangibly in my body composition changes. So that was a huge part of it, and moving forward. And I've gone through surgeries, being on macros, and they've changed just, depending on my fitness level and activity level. We've gone through different, races. We are signed up to do by 100-mile bike race. So that will look different as opposed to when we trained for an Olympic lifting meet. So we've done all those too, but it's nice that we found, a system that really works and can change depending on how we change and how our goals change too. And I really love that part of it as well.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that because I do want to touch on that. The as you go, your macros, it's a system that can work for so many type of people. And like you were saying that different competitions, different kinds of athletic events that you were training for, your macros could be tailored to help you with those goals. I know you guys did, some bike races and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the really cool things about macros is that it is a system that that can work for anyone. It's just having the right goals set for whatever your goals are. And so, your goals they might one day go to competing as a bodybuilder, but currently those are not your goals, and macros still work for you. Just like, I was not ever really planning on stepping on stage until about a little over, well, a year and a half ago, I decided that I was going to go ahead and give it a shot. So I decided to transition to contest prep and I competed in my first bodybuilding show in June of last year. Um, and that was quite the experience. Being somebody that has been around this sport for so long, just supporting people as they prep for competitions and having so many friends and clients and whatnot that do compete as bodybuilders. It was really a cool experience for me to finally get to have it firsthand. And Definitely, I feel like it does help me relate to both mine and Adam's clients better, having that firsthand experience. It was also, I think it's funny, it was also good for Adam to, he hadn't competed a really long time, and for to have somebody in his household in prep was kind of a eye-opening experience after not doing it for so long, because he was like, wow, yeah, I put people through a lot. No, uh, I mean, I did prep myself, so, but he was there, of course, supporting me through the experience. And therefore, if I was, ever doubting or questioning, am I making the right choice here? Or, am I pushing too hard? Do I need to push harder? He was there to support me through that. And it was great to have that second opinion because even though I know how to prep people and have done it, you always second guess when it's yourself. So it was great to have that support as I went through that, to have somebody just to bounce things off of. Um, just funny story. One time I was, was in the middle of prep and I was like, do you think I, I said something about doing more cardio. And, um, and then he was like, well, do you want me to just take over your prep at this point? And I said, here's the thing. If you take over my prep and you tell me I need to do more cardio and you cut my carbs and I'm super angry, then I'm angry with you. Whereas
Yeah.
if I just go ahead with the carbs or do the extra cardio, I'm the only person I can blame for it because I'm the one, making the calls here. But so he was like, yeah, actually, I think you should probably just keep prepping yourself.
A good choice.
Like, I don't want her right here in my home with me. I was like, yeah,
Absolutely.
for the best for both of us. But
We did that for when Evan did a competition too. I was obviously in contact with Adam that day because that was my first, you know, show. And, I said, this is what he said, not what I said. So, and he was like, okay. And I was like, whew, all right, that's fine. So we don't want to blur those lines a little bit, but
be mad
absolutely.
at now. I also just want to talk a little bit about how like this transformation, how getting in the best shape of your life has changed things for you. How does it make you feel about yourself? What has it changed in your life?
Sure. Um, so, as we know, as we're getting older, things change, you know, and especially for women, it's really important for us to understand the changes in our body. I mean, after 35, we start to lose our muscle mass. We start to lose, our strength by almost 1% a year, which is pretty scary if you're not doing anything to help combat it. So for me, I want to go into the next years not just looking the best in my skin, although that's a nice, benefit of it, but I want to feel healthy. I want to be strong. I don't want to ever have to say, no, I can't. And, and that's really so far, moving into this next phase of my life, like we can do anything that we want to do, physically, mentally. That also is a huge piece of it. And I know that I'm setting myself up later, not just in the here and now, but what I'm doing now is basically putting money into a bank for later, that I will continue to be on a trend where I'm going to, maintain my strength. It's great for bone density, obviously strength training. It makes your bones denser, which for women, obviously, as we age, we lose that density, osteoporosis, coordination, balance. I mean, it sounds silly, but these are all things that are going to keep us at our peak level as we age. So why not put that benefit into now and get into a habit where we're supporting that as we move forward? So it's funny, those are a lot of the big reasons why. Like I said, I love to feel comfortable in my own skin and the confidence of it all, but I also think about what I'm doing now is going to pay forward. And I mean, being a mom of four, they watch what we do and we're their role models. So we have now seen our children even start to, pay attention to the foods they're putting in. Are they counting their macros? No, but are they being more protein minded when they're grabbing something? And maybe let's think about not as sugary a food. What's a better option? When I tell them I'm making gluten-free banana bread, they don't, snub me. They actually try it. They say it's good. So, for me, it's just been a holistic thing. It has brought my husband and I together, that we are kind of, we do this together. This is our journey together as well. We love, last year we went out to Utah and we were climbing mountains here and there were people half our age that were holding on to rocks, and we're like, we got this. And I feel that's pretty empowering.
Absolutely. Yeah, for me, obviously, one of the reasons I started this journey was because I was borderline high blood pressure. So
Mm.
definitely losing weight and working out more, like blood pressure dropped back to very healthy, normal ranges. I had my blood work done. Everything is super great ranges, healthy. So I agree. Like for the health benefits, absolutely. Do I want to look good? Yes. But it's like such a it does so much more than that. And I tell clients a lot of times too that having the gym routine and having a healthy diet does more than just make us look good physically. It's, helps us build routine and discipline and gives us self-confidence, all those things. So being strong, I am a woman who wants to be capable and strong. I don't want to have somebody take care of me or have to help me pick something up or open a jar. I want to
100%.
do all those things myself. So I love having the confidence that comes with being strong and capable, and also knowing that this is going to help me stay that way for a long time. That as we get older, as you mentioned, we do women especially tend to lose muscle every single year. So having these healthy habits and eating a certain way and training hard is going to help keep me strong and fit and confident through, you know, all the phases of my life.
Well, and also, although I'm not in that phase, as we get older too, our hormones are changing too. And, obviously we have perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and, it's a different journey for everyone. But obviously, the healthier you go into that phase of your life, it is going to help, your metabolism. It's going to help support hormone regulation. And, just again, that self confidence, you're doing everything that you can. And obviously, the fitter you are, if you're closer to your goal weight, you're going to go through it better. I went to my gynecologist recently too, and she said, because you're so fit and you're so balanced, you may not have any symptoms or less than most, because your body is as optimal as possible and you're doing everything you can to enter this phase as healthy as you can. So, if I can do that as well, I've heard horror stories of it, but it's you're basically, the more muscle you have, it burns more calories than fat. So if your ratio is, more muscle than fat, then obviously as your metabolism's dropping, because that does happen as we get older, you're doing something to combat that and to fight against that. So, if I'm the type of person, if I have the ability to change something and have control over it, I'm going to do everything I can in my capability. Um, One of the reasons that it's so dear to me too is I lost my father a few years ago to diabetes, and it was not a hereditary thing. This was complete diet and lifestyle choices. And so I was his caregiver. And for me, again, not just looking great and feeling great, but I don't, I saw his journey, and it was so tough to witness and be his caregiver and his daughter. And I want to make sure that I don't do that to my children or myself. It was a sad moment. So again, anything that's in my control that I can try to, move through the next decades as healthy as possible. And if it's as simple as, knowing what my macros are, how my body really, responds to certain ones. And again, I had some gastrointestinal issues, and I healed that through food, eating the correct things, having the right supplements. And I have to say, I came out the other side negative, and I feel even better. I didn't know that I felt that way until I improved it even more through learning more about the foods that really support me specifically. So that was empowering as well to know, my body can feel even better, just knowing what I'm putting in and the amounts that I need, to be successful.
Yeah, I love the point you made about the having muscle helps build your metabolism and helps you burn more calories. I talk about this all the time because I sometimes have women that say, I don't want to get bulky or I don't want to be too muscular. And they're like, you look great, but I don't want to look like you. And I get
I
that.
get that too.
I'm fine with that. Everybody doesn't have to look like me. I
Right.
like muscular physique. For me, that's what I want.
Right.
I understand every woman does not want to have cap shoulders and, muscles that, have cuts in them. And that is totally fine.
Mhm.
But having more muscle on your body will help you eat more and it will help you burn more fat. So a lot of people think that, one of the reasons that we struggle to lose weight as we get older, it's because we become more sedentary typically.
Mhm.
We're active when we're young. We're up and moving a lot. And as we get older, we tend to be a little more sedentary. Our jobs tend to be desk jobs or jobs where you're not moving around as much. And if once your kids are grown, you're not chasing around little ones all the time. Um,
Right.
and when we're younger, we just tend to be more active, running around, doing things. And so a lot of times I'm like, if you lifted weights and built more muscle, you might be able to eat a little more.
Well,
So
and that's what a lot of my clients too. I mean, we came from the mindset that carbs are bad. That calorie restriction, you shouldn't be eating this. If you ate something bad, then you don't deserve to eat food. You have to out exercise a poor diet. And that is one of the mind set shifts that I've had as well is when I've brought clients on that maybe have come from that theory, I show them what they're eating, and it's so much more. And then they are losing weight. They're seeing body composition changes. And I'm like, we for so long have been afraid of things we don't know. It's just using them in the right way. And it's pretty liberating to know, yes, I can, have rice and I'm not going to gain 5 pounds. And things like that. And just respecting and understanding those things as a woman, if you gain 2 or 3 pounds when you're near your period, it's not fat. It's fluid. It's gone. Take a deep breath. The number is not what's the most important. It's really how you're feeling, and monitoring that as well. How your sleep improves, how your energy is improving. Like you said, as we get older, people tend to have less energy. They're more fatigued. They're not sleeping as soundly. But if you're balanced and your nutrition's on point, your strength training, your cardiovascular's there, all those things can be reversed. And I mean, I sleep great. I have to say, I love that. My friends aren't happy when I say, yeah, I sleep through the night. It's wonderful. And I'm not ravenous and grabbing things throughout the day that maybe don't support me because I have learned how to nourish myself and not deprive myself. I can go out to a restaurant and say, if I want to have something like this, that's fine. I don't blow the rest of the day, but I can understand it can be a part of it, with some bumpers on either side. And that's really what macros kind of gives you is we give you freedom to have things, but with bumpers there to know You can't go full tilt. Like, you know what I mean? And I think people crave the structure of the program, but then a little bit of the flexibility too. And I think that's why it's a win-win.
Yeah. I always say balance, balance in all things we do. Uh, I love the approach of dieting, but not being so restrictive that you can't feel like you're living life. I love wine, and I never gave up wine until the last 8 weeks of my prep. I was in prep still drinking wine. And then, of course, the last 8 weeks, then that is one of the times when you really, really have to dial it in. So at that point, I did give up all alcohol, but for most of my weight loss journey for 8 years, I never gave up wine. I never gave up chocolate. I never gave up the foods that I love or the drinks that I love. And I feel like so many people think that to get in the best shape of your life, you have to give up so many things. And, all good things in moderation. Yeah, I do not recommend going out and having, 3 bottles of wine in a night. But a glass or two, you can still make progress. We can work with that.
Yeah.
There's to work those kinds of treats or special things in without blowing your progress.
Yeah, and I think that's the accountability piece of it, but that makes it sustainable as well. Is there's no hard nose. It's just how is it going to work into your day? And if you do want the wine, you don't then go with the nachos and the cookies. You balance it out. But no one is saying no, you can't. But this is how we can work it in so that you do account for it throughout the day. The coaching itself, and I'm sure you know this too, even though you have an in-house one, and I actually am Evans for some things too. He gives me the side eye when I give him tough strength workouts now. I get that look. But it's just the accountability to others too, because someone is rooting for you. Someone's in your corner. Someone's been through this journey, either one way or another. Like for you doing prep, anyone that's interested in something like that, you've tangibly gone through it. And I've been strongly suggested that I need to go down that route. So we'll see. However, but us living this life, I know we will. But living this lifestyle, it is more tangible to us. It's more real world. We've lived these things. We've gone through holidays. We've gone on vacation. So we're not just spouting something that we haven't, experienced. And I think that is the great part too, is having someone that knows what you're going through, the struggles of the certain days of like, I'm hungry today. Okay, cool. Let's talk about that. Or, I had this gain. Look at me. And I have the shoulder. Like I get the pictures now, from some of my clients. Look at my shoulder. Do you see that? And I'm like, yes, I do. And it's just having someone there to help celebrate those successes. And that really keeps you motivated to moving forward too. You have a team around you, which that's the part I love too.
So I get a lot of people that say, oh, I'm too old to start. I'm too old to do that. Like when it comes to bodybuilding, especially, like, oh, I'm way too old to do that. And they'll be my age. And I'm like,
um,
I was like always in great shape. And so one of my favorite things is when people have that wow moment when they see my pictures from 8 years ago. And I'm like, I'm 44 and I competed last year in bodybuilding for my very first time. And I'm like, it is never too late to start. Like I feel like that is one of the best moments when people realize, oh my gosh, you did this in your at middle age. And so if she can do this and lose 125 pounds, I'm like, you can do it, like, and
Absolutely.
so. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Amy. It was great to hear about your journey and share a little bit about my journey and talk about why we're passionate about working with women in the middle age. Actually, all women of all ages, but definitely we relate probably most to those women who are in the middle part of their life, 40's and 50's, and love helping them see that it is possible to reach whatever kind of fitness, nutrition goals that you are looking to achieve. Um, and with that said, Amy and I are both launching a transformation challenge coming soon, right after Labor Day. And we are taking slightly different angles on this transformation challenge. So I'm going to let Amy talk about her challenge that's coming up, and then I will talk about mine.
Sure. So my challenge is basically going to focus on clients that maybe have never counted macros before. Maybe strength training is new and a little scary, and want to have a little bit of guidance, but basically to learn about nutrition, learn about strength training and cardio, and what's going to help support you. It's going to be a 12-week challenge, and for myself, I would help to set your macros, educate you what macros mean, because a lot of people we have to start there and teach them a little bit about macros, what that looks like in your day. Write a strength training program dependent upon your goals, your level of health right now, any injuries, that you might have. We can help compensate for that. But also then some recommendations for cardiovascular, just getting you started and dipping your toe into this new world to see how it works for you. But 12 weeks is a nice chunk of time for you to see some nice change. That's when habits start to occur. And it would take you from the day after Labor Day, so September 2nd to November 25th, which is a nice stretch of time. That's right before Thanksgiving. As we enter the holidays, we want to feel strong and confident as we're going through. But you would also get a weekly call with me to just tweak anything we need to, talk about scenarios that are coming up. I've been able to troubleshoot. I'm going out on, to dinner. What would I do there? Helping to set you up so that when these events come, you're not afraid of them. You know how to navigate them. You have a plan. And as we know, if you have a plan, you feel more in control of it all. And that's basically it. That would be my challenge. And for you?
Yes. So my challenge is a little different. My challenge is for people who are looking to get to compete for their first time. So my challenge is for people who want to dip their toe in the water of maybe prep. So we are not starting a prep in my challenge. We are prepping to prep, basically. So it's the prep before the prep, I am going to call it. So this challenge is for people who are thinking that they might want to eventually compete. How do I get started? How do I know what kind of show to pick? How do I find a posing coach? All those kinds of questions. They might not even know what kind of division they want to compete in. My challenge will kind of cover all those questions that come up when you are considering starting a prep. Where to look for those answers. Mine will also have weekly Zoom calls where we will talk about all the things that you will need to know to start a prep. And this will also help you get your body in the right place to officially start that prep. So the goal is after my challenge that you are either ready to step into a prep and set a date and start working towards that bodybuilding competition that you want to do, or you may go through the 12 weeks and decide, hey, this has really helped me build confidence, build muscle, lose some body fat, and then maybe the show isn't for me. But this is a great place to kind of figure that out, decide if this is something you might be interested in. So basically, mine is the step after Amy's challenge. If you are ready to kind of take it to the next level, but aren't ready to start a prep, this is a great place to come.
Sounds good. I might have to join that one.
You can be a part of my challenge.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. And if you have any questions about the challenge, feel free, or both challenges, feel free to reach out. We will have more information and a link to click on how you can be a part of that. And we will see you later, Leaner.